You know, sometimes when you're about to smoke that pipe of DMT, there is this fear kicking in. And you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to smoke this pipe. Even I don't know if I'm ready to go all the way and to smoke enough to get to the breakthrough areas of NN-DMT, 5-MeO-DMT, all the other psychedelics. You know, and this is a natural part of the process. The fear is not a barrier to the breakthrough. It's the doorway. And there's the classic saying that courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means feeling the fear and doing it anyways. But there is some nuance to this topic. Hey, I'm Virgo, Psychedelic Integration Coach, and a lot of my coaching clients and also a lot of you guys here just watching the channel have reached out to me and asked the question, how do I overcome this fear of getting the pipe and smoking the DMT, or smoking enough in order to get to this mystical breakthrough place? Whatever that term even means, that's a topic for another video. But it's a common question, it's a common phenomenon, and every one of us human beings is dealing with this question in regards to psychedelic space. At least a lot of us. Not some of the super crazy psychonauts. But you know, there is some interesting nuances to this, and in this video I want to go over 3 practical tips that I can pass on to you and some perspectives that might be helping you to gain the courage, overcome that fear, go do it, and also approach that path with a sense of discernment and wisdom. And explore this topic. What's at the root of this? That's what we're gonna look at towards the end of this video. So I'm excited for this. Very interesting topic, and thanks for all of you guys reaching out and to my coaching clients. So the first thing that was coming up for me is fear is a doubt of your ability to surrender. Fear is a doubt of your ability to trust in this process, to trust the medicine, to trust the process, to trust yourself that you're gonna be fine. Whew, that's an interesting one, right? Because, I mean, what is it? We're inevitably facing the unknown when we are hitting that pipe of DMT, especially in the higher doses. There's always going to be an unexpected surprise. There's always going to be the mystery, the unknown that we're tapping into. And when we're facing that unknown, we don't know what's going to happen. So there is a sense of surrender and trust that we'll have to put into ourselves and the process that we're moving into. And the fear is basically saying that, I don't know if I can do this. You know, it's this voice in our head that, now we shall better like not do it today, and maybe just like not so much, and like what if this is gonna happen? It's a doubt. It's a doubt of our innermost ability to surrender and trust into the process. So that's an interesting one. And you know, this fear is also kind of like a showing sign of the threshold between I feel the call, I feel drawn to go into this experience and this process, and I'm scared to die. And it's a delicate balancing act, because there is a truth to this concern that we're gonna die, you know, in the process. And I want to talk to this notion towards the end of the video. So moving into some practical action steps that if you're like, I feel the call and I really want to go in, but I somehow can't, or I somehow feel some resistance, here's some very practical things that you can do. So number 1 is to prepare the body. There is a very interesting research paper that came out recently that was talking about the notion of a body set. So not just set, mindset, but the body set of the set and setting. And that speaks to your state of the body. And you can actually prepare the body for such an intense experience. Get used to regulating your nervous system in intense situations and be able to practice that sense of trust and surrender into the intensity. So this means, for example, the very practical preparation of fasting or eating very clean before such an experience, putting some awareness around your exercise and your kind of like how you're dealing with your body before the experience, what state of the body you're in to go into this experience. Because if you're eating junk all the time, and if you're not taking care of your body, and you're tired and you're working too hard, then you're just like, okay, and then I will go into the DMT experience and space and just break through and do that. It's like, obviously there's going to be some resistance coming in from the body even itself, from your somatic system. So that's one area. And then the other one is you can actually train the body, go into some more intense practices like deep belly breathing that can anchor you in the DMT space itself. Or cold showers or doing an ice bath is such an experience. You know, you're facing an intense experience, you're like preparing yourself, and then you're moving in, and when you're in that ice bath, you're just relaxing. You're practicing to relax in intense situations. So that's one part of it. Practicing to prepare the body for such an intense experience. And the second one, it's kind of like related to this process of preparation. It's to set a ritual container about the experience. So when I talk to some people that have got this challenge and this difficulty with building up the courage to go into this experience, I noticed that sometimes people would try to go in spontaneously and then be like, I tried it today and it didn't work. I tried it yesterday and then tomorrow I'll try again and it really didn't work and I didn't smoke enough, or like I had the pipe but then I didn't know like if I wanted to or if I was ready. And there's like, basically we're preventing that from happening, this whole confusion of yes, no, doubt, worry, by setting a ritual container. Setting a ritual container can happen with just having a facilitator who's making sure that you're safe, who's making sure that you're smoking enough, or whatever else kind of like the process is on the substance that you're choosing to work with. Or you can set a ritual container for yourself. So basically meaning you set a date on your calendar. You're like, I have a couple days free over there, and then on this Saturday at 12 p.m. I'm gonna go and smoke a humongous dose of DMT. So you have a date in mind, and it's probably maybe even 1 or 2 weeks, I would recommend, ahead of where you're at right now, or even further on to the future. Not just, okay, I set a date, tomorrow I'm gonna do it. No. It's like, leave some space, leave some time, and then you can prepare yourself for that ritual to happen. And you're really kind of like mustering up a sense of inner commitment towards that date, because you know this is gonna be the date where possibly I'm gonna be dying, or that part of me that I believe and attach to, of who I am, and then there's a process of tuning into that, and there's time and space to build up the readiness for that experience to happen on that day. And then on the day, you're more ready, you're more committed to actually go in. And then obviously it's normal that there's still some like feelings of fear and respect and nervousness coming up. That's totally normal, but I feel that if I've prepared myself mentally and spiritually and on the physical realm weeks beforehand, it's easier then to go in and to muster up the courage to actually go in and smoke. And then the ritual container itself, you can create it in a very beautiful way that you're on the day, you're not just, okay, 12 an hour, I did some stuff and then I'm going in. No, you can take some space and some time, meditate for 1 or 2 or 3 hours beforehand, do some yoga, be out in nature, really be with yourself, be with the substance, be with the process, really tune in, and then create a little ritual for yourself, singing some mantras of truth, just like just do your own thing and burn some sage or whatever else is kind of like your jam in setting up this sacred container for yourself and for the experience to unfold. because I feel like this is helping to for the mind to frame the experience in a way that it accelerates and amplifies this readiness to just go in there. So that's the second part, and the second kind of like practical thing and tip that I want to leave you with. And the third one, it's actually not a complete trick to muster up the courage, but I want to offer some perspective regarding your mindset towards this. I call this point of basically let go of these ego goals or of these egoistical games. You know, because for many people I sense that there is an internal desire or a need to wanting to achieve something. I want to achieve the breakthrough. I want to achieve this. I want to go in because this and that. And it's like this desire is almost coming from this sense of self that wants to achieve something, that has an expectation on the experience itself. And then that creates a certain sense of tension, because it kind of like overrides a certain natural, authentic desire or calling and readiness to go into the experience with a mental framework, a thought construct to say like, I need to go in, I want to go in, this is a goal of mine, I want to break through, I want to do this, I want just like, chill out, like relax. It's okay not to feel the call. It's okay not to go into the breakthrough immediately. It's okay not to be ready for that experience or not to have the courage for that experience. So really my invitation is to really look at your authentic inner intention. What's that world inside there look like? Like, where is that calling coming from? What are you telling yourself where that calling is coming from? Because I have noticed that when there is just like a kind of like an outside setting or some coincidence that on that day there's going to be ceremony and I'm going to be there, you know, or on that day I have some free space and I really want to do the experience right there. Where's that coming from? Is it the mind telling you that you got to be doing this and you want to be doing this and you want to achieve something because of this, or you expect a certain result that if you're going to break through, all your problems in life are going to be solved? Or is it really this heart calling, the soul calling that's saying like, I'm ready for this, you know? And really inquire into this and distinguish between those different callings and these different ways of callings. And then, as I said, my invitation is to let go of the ego games and the goal settings in regards to your psychedelic practice and appreciate what's present. Appreciate what's authentically arising from within, from your innermost essence and core. Because I found that if this innermost core is saying, yes, like 100% fuck yes, this is it, then even though I'm still nervous and worrying and have all these crazy thoughts, I might be able to go in. Because it's just, I know it's going to happen. I know in my heart that this is the right thing, this is the right moment, this is the right experience for me. And then again, I build up my ability to trust myself, to surrender, not to fear, not to doubt, but to go in, to be committed to that process. So yeah, look at your true intention, be present with yourself, be kind to yourself, and then whatever the result might be, appreciate that. And then say like, okay, if it says that I'm just gonna load this pipe just a tiny bit and I take my psychedelic journeying slow, I don't have to break through today or tomorrow, but I can just have 10, 20, 30 experiences with a low dose of DMT and just take it slow, or take a couple weeks and month break, you know? And just listen to that and appreciate your own pace of that journey. Yeah. I even haven't gotten to a certain depth that my mind wants to go through. You know, it's like, I want to go and eat 30 or 40 grams of mushrooms like Kilindi did. And it's like, I'm just not there yet. And that's totally fine. Because I'm moving into my own space and in my own pace, and I trust that natural unfolding of my journey. So yeah, the last few words of perspective and wisdom that I might want to share that were coming up for me in regards to this topic of mustering up the courage to move into psychedelic space, DMT land, and breakthrough space. It's so you won't die. You can't. Your essence is immortal. It's infinite. It's eternal. There's no possibility that you can die. But what you're not might. So all the stories that you're telling yourself, all the attachments that you have, who you think you are, that might fall apart. That might die. And that part might anticipate that a little bit and say like, ooh, I don't know if this is the right thing because like, ooh, I don't know, like I'm afraid to die, and that's okay. You know, it's a real thing to let go of that sense of self, and that's scary. That's a scary process. But your innermost essence, it's impossible for that to die. Regarding the body, you know, that's the last trick of the ego, is like, the body is gonna fall apart. It's like the body is literally gonna stop and die. No guarantees, you know. Stuff happens with psychedelics, but do your research in the psychedelic that you want to explore, and research the safety measures on the dosage and the experience. Counter interactions with certain foods or with certain other substances or medications. Do your research, you know, like, and then scan the safety profile of the substances. We know that mushrooms and NMDMT, for example, are generally very, very, very safe substances. Very unlikely that the body is going to take damage or literally die from that experience. With other ones, it's a bit more nuanced, you know, with the 5-MeO-DMT, with the MDMA, it's like you want to be safe, you know, and have safety measures in place in order to surrender fully into the sensation of death that might arise possibly in the experience. And still, even then, when the body falls apart, your innermost essence, it's infinite, it's eternal, it cannot possibly die. That's an interesting kind of like sensation and truth to ground in, you know, this deep spiritual truth of immortality. Yeah, I won't go further into this right now. It's written in many scriptures, and you can embark on your own journey of inquiring into that. So, and another sense is that basically you're not supposed to feel ready. You're not supposed to go in with joy, you know, but you're supposed to be honest. You're supposed to be responsible, mature, committed to that process, because the fear, it's part of the design, it's part of the process. It is the work to overcome that fear, to face that fear, to look at that darkness, to jump into the unknown. It's part of the work. You know, facing the unknown is inevitably scary to a certain sense. Maybe to some crazy minds it is not, but there is a sensation of fear that's natural. That's the work that we're doing. That's part of what I love about the psychedelics and the growth process that they've taken me through. It's that I am scared shitless and I still go in. There's no way around it. It's like I can't magically just have no hesitation to smoke that DMT. Because the fear is part of the process. And it might actually fall away after years of dedication to the psychedelic path. Many psychonauts I talked to, for example, Julian Palmer as well, in his book, he wrote that after hundreds of experiences with DMT, maybe thousands, you know, it's like he's just like, he doesn't really have any hesitation or fear anymore. It's like it doesn't even require courage anymore for him to really go into these realms. But for many of us, it is the case. Our system is nervous. We're like, oh, we're a bit worried and fearful. And that's the work. And we're going in, we're doing it anyways. And through that, we're building the muscle of courage by doing the psychedelics. By going in spite of the fear. And then the last thing I want to share is for me, it helps to reframe the fear. Don't call it fear. Don't tell yourself that you're not courageous enough and that you can't do it. It's like there's a possibility for a reframe to happen. And I like to reframe nervousness or fear with excitement. Because when I look very closely into my own experience, you can do the same. And you look at this weird sensation in the body and in the belly and you're like tightness in the chest and ooh, like what is that like? Because the sensation is just the sensation. What we're putting onto the sensation is a label. We are saying this is fear, this is nervousness, or this is excitement. And I've noticed that regarding the anticipation of psychedelic space, the label of nervousness and excitement, it's basically the same thing. It doesn't really require me to say like this is a vastly different thing than this one. But it's just a matter of choice of how do I choose to perceive this sensation that is going on within my body. And with a sense of excitement or a sense of respect, I like to frame it as a respect for the space that I'm about to enter into, I feel more ready to go into this instead of telling myself that I'm fearful and I can't do it and this and that. And it's like all these stories, let go of the stories, relax and move into this space. Last thing that I always like to mention in these videos is basically practicing beforehand the dance of what I call the dance of detached appreciation. So practicing to detach from any appearance whatsoever. Practicing to detach from all experiences. You can do this in your mundane, ordinary day-to-day. You can do this in breathwork. You can do this in ice bath or wherever else you're practicing, or low-dose psychedelic journeys. You're practicing to detach from experiences because all experiences are illusions. It's part of this dance, this part of this play, what in Hinduism they might call lila, that is unfolding, everything is just emerging, creating, sustained, destroyed, and it's this whole play that we can just witness and appreciate. We're not involved in it, we're not identified with it, we're not attached to it, with this whole shebang that's going on in reality, but we're just witnessing it and then gently appreciating all of the wonderful appearances of reality, all of the experiences. We're loving them. We're gently just holding them in loving awareness. So to practice that has been massively helpful, because then the psychedelic experience itself, it becomes a practice ground for this detached appreciation. It becomes a practice ground to say, like, no matter what's going to happen, if it's the darkest demons or the brightest angels, I am the observer of all of this. And I'm not attached to the angels and averse to the demons, but I'm just appreciating this whole play, and I'm dancing with it in gentle, detached appreciation. So this is kind of like my core practice that I take into psychedelic space. If you're curious to get some coaching, learn more about it, link is in the video description. Hope that was helpful. Thanks for the inspiration of asking this question over and over and over again. I just had to make a video to that. Probably much more to say, but I'll do in another video. Much love and safe journeying.